everyone, and welcome to the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show. My name is Vanita Lambert. I'm the host of this show. And over here to my right, my far right, I have my monthly co-host, Dr. Sonji Phillips. She is a organizational psychologist, and she comes on every week to help give us training, and we really appreciate that. And we have a very special guest today who I stalked a little bit. We have the regional president of M&T Bank, Miss Tyree Robinson. I can't believe I messed up her name. Sorry, Tyree. Okay. I apologize for that. Thank you so much for coming on. I am super excited to have you here. I know you drove all the way from New York in the rain, and we really do appreciate that. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's my absolute pleasure. I remember the day that I met you, and I was just so struck by your warmth and your kindness and just how much I wanted to get to know you. And when you shared the forum and the platform that you have where we really can reach out to our community and share important messages, I was very compelled to want to be in this seat, but also to be able to share messages of hope and give folks more insight into banking, but specifically the relationship part of it. So I'm thrilled to be a part of this discussion today, and I'm ready for all the hard questions you two may have.
There really are no hard questions coming from me. I have been with People's Bank since 1981, and it's been a great relationship, and that relationship has continued on to M&T Bank. I just told you not too long ago, the thing that changed for me is the name of the bank and the color from blue to green. But I have, I've been with this company, this bank a long time, and I plan to stay with it because of the relationship that I've, had throughout the years. And I appreciate you coming on the show to address the community. There's been a couple of glitches.
Yes.
When do you make a major change and there are no glitches? I am a Medicare and insurance agent. My middle name should be Glitch. It should be Vanita Glitch Lambert because there's always glitches. So we've gotten past that, and we're just ready to, hear about all of the ways that that you're gonna make this community even better. And all of the things that you have to offer us.
That means a lot. To see such a long-term relationship that, you fostered over the years. But also, I would be remiss if I don't address and just make it clear that, yes, early on there were glitches, and our absolute goal is to not only make sure that we build relationships and rebuild trust, but that we become a part of the fabric of the community as a community bank. It's so important to us that we're not just a community bank, but that we are a bank for our communities, and that people feel like they have the level of support, the resources, and that they have the relationships that they need to be able to bank at M&T and feel that we're there for them throughout their entire financial journey. And so I just am so thankful that we're in January 2023, we're ready for the road ahead, and we're looking forward to the relationships that we can build.
Thank you. And I just want to take a step back for a minute. Can you just tell our audience a little bit about your background, please?
Yes. So I started in banking straight out of college. I went through a management development program, and honestly, I was not someone who went to college to become a banker. I had a finance background, and finance was something that I found interesting, but really for me, it was about how do I go into this management development program and learn about banking, but also the relationship aspect of banking. And I have never left. Never left. I did go on to grad school, law school, and I've been able to meet some incredible people along the way. And my career took me from a management development program to working at M&T as the first Black regional president in the bank's 165-year history. So thank you.
I am so proud of that. Women rule, but anyway.
We do. And for me, it it is about representation, right? Representation absolutely matters in every facet of our lives, but to know that, someone like me who, comes from a normal African American family background where, it was instilled in us education, being a part of the community, doing the right thing. For me to be in this role is less about me, but it really is about empowering other people to be able to live out their dream and to trust that they too can accomplish the things that I've done or far more. So I am all about paving ways, just like it's been paved for me. I recognize the shoulders of the many giants that I stand on, and I don't take any of that for granted every day. And so being in this role has truly enabled me to be an active listener in the community, to recognize where we're getting it right and maybe where we have opportunities to improve. And I will tell you, I've been embraced so warmly by the community in general, but specifically people of color who have been distrusting of banks and who haven't always felt like financial institutions would do the right thing by them. I mean, we know that there have had to be laws made to protect brown and black people and women from some of the practices in banking. And so I'm here to continue that change and to make sure that people feel like they have access and they have a voice. And we all have a voice, right? But it is about empowering people to use it and make sure that we're making the changes that are so necessary and that help create an environment where people can leverage banks for all different parts of their life. So it's been a fun road. It's really been exciting.
It's fun right now. Well said. And just that's one of the reasons why I invited Dr. Sonji to join us. She is a black business owner. She has her own business. And like I said, women are taking over. So it is just imperative for our community, the greater Bridgeport community. And you talk about those little girls that came from humble beginnings. I am one of them. I grew up in the projects. I never even imagined myself doing this. But we are here today to let you know that you can do anything.
That's right.
You can do anything. And Dr. Sonji, can you just tell us a little bit about your business and how having someone in banking can relate to it, and maybe answer some questions that you may have about some of the challenges that you faced?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So my business, it's a small business, and I have at any given time between 2 and 10 employees, none full-time except myself, the owner. But I work with maybe dozens of consultants because one of the things that we do is we do training. So I work with a lot of social workers, psychologists, nurses, and then administrative staff. Now, in terms of my needs, I currently have a bank, and I think I've just used them. I'm a creature of habit. Mm-hmm. So once I start something, I am loyal to, it's just
like me.
And even when we're not getting along, I'm still loyal to you, because it is
unlike me.
So me and my bank are not getting along right now, and just some issues that I've had with my bank is, number one, when the PPP loans came around, I went and I applied for a PPP loan for my bank, and they were my personal banker, maybe now for about 15 years, maybe about 15, maybe even close to 20 years, I'm not sure. And then when I went into business in 2019, I automatically went to them. But they're much larger. They're one of the largest banks. I won't say the name, but it's one of the largest banks. And they turned me down for the PPP loan. So I had to go back to my connections with the smaller bank and speak to them, and immediately it went through. And I was just very upset at that because, I've been a loyal customer to you for 15 years. I took my business, you hold my home mortgage, and now that I think about it, it's been much longer than 15 years because they're my mortgage holder. But yet when I needed a PPP loan, you turned me down. How does that work with M&T?
First of all, thank you for your vulnerability and sharing, and I'm truly sorry that that was your experience. And what I would offer you is, as I look back during that very trying and tumultuous time of the beginning of the pandemic, and you take a business owner such as yourself and millions of others who have spent their life building upon a dream and pouring everything that they have into this business, and then something completely out of your control, like a once in a lifetime type of pandemic comes and just wreaks havoc on our world. And people were nervous, they were panicked, they were wondering how they would make sure that they not only ensure that their business could withstand that time, but also that they could pay their employees, that they could, keep the lights on in the business, keep the doors open. And so to know that all of that was happening in the background, and then the relief that people sought through PPP was met with just pure chaos, right? You take some of the largest banks who have some of the best infrastructure from a technology perspective to be able to stand up a process for people to go in and apply for a PPP loan, and then to come to find out people were just declined, right? There were no true mechanisms in place to help people understand how to go through the process. People felt alone. And as I look back, because I'm a statistics person, to think that only 2% of brown and black business owners benefited from that first round of PPP tells you a whole lot. For me, it tells a story of relationships or lack thereof. When you don't have a relationship with your banker, when something good or bad happens, you don't have a connection. You don't have, as you stated, a contact to be able to reach out to, call up and say, hey, this is happening. What do I need to do? What is the process? And so I'm glad we don't need to name names, right? Because there's over 4,000 banks in this country. The ones that participated in PPP, many of them really struggled to get it right. I will say, and obviously I work for M&T, so I'm a bit biased, but the way that we were able to be so innovative and have all hands on deck, we had thousands of our employees stop what they were doing to focus on PPP. When I tell you the branch manager in a bank, the tellers, calling up customers, it was all hands on deck. From people in our corporate offices, everything became about how do we ensure that our clients and our communities feel supported, feel like they have the resources, and we fared extremely well. For us at the time to be in the top 15 banks in the country, now we've moved to 10. We were number 1 and 2, vacillating between those spots of being able to help process PPP loans.
Wow.
And so as we look back, we recognize it was a Herculean effort. I don't think I've ever slept so little because the concern was if so-and-so, first of all, we didn't know how quickly the money would run out, right? So we were given this time frame of, okay, you have this much time, and all these other banks are accessing the same pool of money. And so it was all about submitting it, making sure that folks' stuff was submitted so that we can get the SBA authorization number, so that we knew that loan would be funded. And so it was an around-the-clock effort of us making sure that we were calling. We had employees who lived in Baltimore calling customers who lived in Buffalo, and vice versa. I mean, people didn't even know the clients, but we all felt obligated that this was our responsibility to take care. And so the way we handled it, I believe, was done really beautifully, and our clients thanked us for it. I mean, they thanked us so much that the second iteration, when it was reopened, we were getting people opening up business accounts with us, because initially, remember, you had to be a customer of that bank. So then the second round, people were applying to, they wanted to become our customers, and we eventually not only opened it to them, but also to prospects, so that we could really help people. And so M&T is, to me, just a bank that really focuses on relationships. Like, relationships are the core of our business, and you can have all the technology in the world, you can have all the branches and all the ATMs in the world, but if people don't feel a connection and an authentic connection then, all the technology really doesn't do a whole lot. And so I'm really proud of how we took care of business. And, I think to this day, it's something that we still leverage because people in the community know that we were there when times were the toughest.
I love hearing that. And, and I had shared with you that I have no connection. With all of my loyalties to my bank, I couldn't name one person that works in the bank, and they couldn't name me.
Wow.
Because just recently when I needed to refinance my vehicle, and I wanted to do it through the business, and I was considering purchasing some capital space, they sent me, I spoke to a physical person who sent me to a 1-800 number, and I was unable to navigate through the 1-800 number to get the work that I needed done. So I'm so glad to hear about the personal relationship. Now, another question is nonprofit. Do you have a certain division or oversight over nonprofit and providing grants and community supports, things like that?
Wonderful question. So part of the role that I have as a regional president is I chair our charitable committee. So each community bank region within M&T has a regional president. They have a charitable fund that we are able to ensure is allocated to our non-for-profit businesses locally. And it's our way of really giving back and making sure that we are helping those organizations meet their needs and the needs of the community. And so I would absolutely encourage, and I'm going to make sure that you and I are connected after this on ways to be able to connect with us and see how we can foster that relationship. But that, I would say, is one of the most rewarding parts of what we do. Banks make loans, right? Every bank makes loans. It's how we're able to grow and be profitable. But it really is the philanthropic, aspect of the job and really giving back that warms my heart. I am such a giver, and for me, it always comes back to not what people can do for me, but what we can do for other people. And when you have, nonprofits who are doing such extraordinary work, and they are trying to fundraise, and they're trying to do all these things to ensure that they can continue this wonderful work. And you take an organization like M&T who sees the power in what these organizations do to make our communities thrive and make them what they are, and the way that we're able to help them from a financial perspective, it is beyond rewarding. And when I get to go back and see how those dollars were spent, and people share the stories and share the impacts, like I could spend all day, every day on those types of calls. And I mean, there was one not too long ago in White Plains, New York, and we were able to give funds for them to do like a rec center for kids after school. And just to be able to walk into the space that, through our donation was able to remodel and really make it a place where these kids wanted to go to after school, and to see their smiling faces and them saying, "Thank you, M&T." It was
Priceless.
priceless. It was just like, these are the moments. So yes, we absolutely contribute in many ways. And then the other thing that we're big on is not just the financial part, but every M&T employee gets 40 hours a year to volunteer at an organization, non-for-profit of their choice. And there's something to be said about mobilizing people to roll up their sleeves to make a difference. And so that has manifested in a number of ways, from food drives or backpack drives of us giving back to us painting, the inside of a veterans building where, these veterans who fought for our country come back to sometimes living conditions that most of us would never want to live in. And for us to spend the day rehabbing these buildings and making sure that people have a beautiful place and gardens to be able to look at. I mean, we are so fortunate to recognize as an organization that it is about our communities and empowering our communities to be best. And by the way, we as employees work, live, go to school, educate our kids in these communities. And so we have a vested interest in making sure they're thriving, because we can only thrive if they thrive.
Beautiful.
That is
I love that. She
beautiful.
is totally selling me here. It's like I'm coming out of an abusive relationship.
That's one way of putting it. Oh my goodness, I think that's so well said, and I love the fact that all the M&T employees volunteer. And on that note, I am on the board of the Minority Business Association in Bridgeport. And we would love to hear more about that. It's an organization, minority being businesses under $5 million. And we had planned for M&T personnel to come and do a presentation a few months ago, but something came up and they were not able to make it. So I'm going to invite you whenever your schedule allows it. I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, and I know that you're in New York, but I think you are the right person to talk to this group because it is a mix of nonprofit and for-profit small business owners.
That's wonderful.
And we really need to hear from someone at M&T Bank. As a matter of fact, Ashlar Construction has just built this. It's a big, huge project on the east end of Bridgeport.
Okay.
They just built a big, beautiful library. They're building a grocery store,
That's
and we
wonderful.
need a bank there. And they
Yes.
were looking at, well, someone on our board had a contract with Peoples prior to M&T taking over.
Okay.
I don't know all of the details of that, so I won't go any further than that. But it would be nice to have not just the ATM, but a M&T Bank there because there is no M&T Bank on the entire East End. And there used to be one Peoples there.
Okay.
So whether it's doable or not, it would be great to, just have a presentation from you because I think you're just the right person. You are, even though the bank name is M&T Bank, it's a people's bank.
It is.
It's a people's bank.
It is.
And that's how I feel about it. Like, if something goes wrong with one of my accounts, it's just like if something goes wrong with one of my kids. We're going to sit down and talk about it and
That's
get this
right.
worked out because life is not perfect. And you guys, what you're telling me is that the relationship is everything, and it really is.
It is.
And that's what we need in this community.
It's
It
so
really
true.
is.
And I think it goes back to really recognizing how much people just want access to resources, to information. I am so privileged to get an opportunity to do listening sessions and just hearing from business owners, and specifically if I think about women and minority-owned businesses, right? Women business owners make up 1 in 5 of the businesses in the United States.
Oh, wow.
Which equals about 10 million small businesses. But it also contributes to about $1.8 trillion in revenue from those businesses. And so we're talking about
A lot of
a
money.
lot
Yeah.
of money.
I told you, we're taking over.
We are absolutely taking over. And I think one of the things that becomes difficult is access to capital. We know that at times creates a huge
Absolutely.
obstacle and opportunity. And then, I've had people just be very blunt with me, like, Tyree, just teach me the game. What are the secrets? What do my white counterparts know that maybe I need to become aware of? And it's because traditionally, when you are distrusting of the system, you don't feel like you have the information, the knowledge that you have. And so what I love the most about those sessions is just sitting down, getting to hear people, and being able to share things that maybe they can consider for their own businesses or ways for them to grow or start them. And so I would love to be a part of anything you have going on. And people like to see people who look like them, and they tend to be able to relate and feel more comfortable.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And do business with each other.
Yes.
Yeah, and I just like the way that, the 3 of us are sitting here. We're going to be on YouTube, so please follow us on YouTube.
Yes.
Share this information so that your daughters, your granddaughters, your sisters, their dreams can come true, through business. Go ahead.
And just your locations. Where do you have locations throughout the states, cities? Where?
We do. So we go now with the acquisition of People's United. We are all the way up in Maine down to Virginia. So we have physical brick and mortar locations heavily concentrated on the East Coast and, you know, the Atlantic Seaboard. But overall, like, we are there. We have many branches, and we have so many business bankers who are ready, willing, and able to help.
Yeah, it's a national bank. That's one thing that People's didn't have. It
Right.
wasn't a national bank, because
Right.
I was driving back from North Carolina and I saw M&T. I was like, oh, that's my bank. Really, because you couldn't do that at People's.
Right.
You know, you didn't have a People's there. So I just want to, I'm so excited. I feel all the synergy in this room, and I'm so glad that you both are here. We have about 1.5 minutes left to our show, and I would like to give that time to you. What would you like to say to our audience on your way out?
I just, want to wish everyone a happy new year, and just to say how fortunate we are to make it to 2023 and healthy and able to think about our visions and our goals going forward. And if anyone listening to me is a business owner, knows a business owner, which we all do, I would just encourage you to have them listen to this and also think about what their goals are and how they want to grow their business, and if they have a relationship with their banker at their bank, because that is so critically important, to be able to have an advocate, a trusted advisor who can give you advice but also guide you along the way. And so that's what we aim to do at M&T. And I also would encourage especially people of color and women who have a dream and you just are a little bit nervous of seeing where that dream could take off, to just start somewhere, put one foot in front of the other, and just recognize that that dream was planted in your mind for a reason. And we would love to be your ally and your advocate in supporting you to see that dream realized. So just want to thank you again, Ms. Vanita, for this opportunity, and it's so wonderful to meet you, Dr.
I think
Sun.
I found
And
a
it
new
was-
friend.
It was great you have. It was great having you, and don't be a stranger. You can come back anytime.
I would love to.
So that's our show for today. Follow us on YouTube. This is the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show, and we're on your side.